Christianity is monotheistic, meaning it asserts belief in one God, who is yet uniquely described as a Trinity, comprising three distinct persons who are fully and equally God, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. The Christian God is the one and only supreme, eternal, and all-powerful deity who both created and sustains the universe. He is omnipotent, all-powerful, omniscient, all-knowing, omnipresent, present everywhere, and is perfectly loving, holy, and just. Let us examine what two passages from the Christian Bible say about the person and attributes of this God. In Psalm 89, verse 8-13, it can be inferred that there is no angel and no earthly ruler whatsoever that is comparable to God, or has an arm like him, or can thunder with a voice like him. The command God has of the most ungovernable creatures is unfathomable. Nothing is more frightful, threatening, or more out of man's power to restrain than a raging sea, however. It can swell no higher, roll no further, or do any more hurt than God permits it. In addition, the victories God has obtained over the enemies of his people is awesomely indescribable. And he has more than 1 million ways to deal with his and his people's enemies. Egypt has remained humbled up to this day. Furthermore, the incontestable property God has in all the creatures of the upper and lower worlds is mind-blowing. All the world's inhabitants, the most remote parts of the earth which are unknown, the highest parts of the world, are all his. To cap it all up, the power and justice, the mercy and truth with which he governs the world and rules in the affairs of men is remarkably astonishing. He is able to do anything. His hand is both mighty to save his people and to destroy his and their enemies. None can resist the force or bear the weight of his mighty hand. Nevertheless, he never did, nor ever will do anything that is either unjust or unwise, because righteousness and judgment are the habitation of his throne. Likewise, Psalms 139 verse 1-19 reveals that God is both all-knowing and is neither limited by space or time. It is completely impossible to deceive God. He sees us as we really are, has a perfect knowledge of us. All the motions and actions of both our inward thoughts and outward actions are open before him. Everything about us is entirely bare to God. He knows when we sit down to rest, when we rise up to work, the temper of mind with which we compose ourselves, what our souls repose themselves in as their stay and support, what our souls aim at and reach towards as their joy and end. Also, our imaginations are not hidden from him. Nothing is closer and quicker than thought. It is always unknown to others and often unobserved by us, and yet God understands it, though our thoughts be ever so foreign and distant from one another. God understands how they are linked and connected, even when they slip out of our notice that we cannot understand them. God understands them even before we think of them, and long after we have thought and forgotten them. From the height of heaven, he sees the depth of our hearts. Likewise, God knows all our undertakings so thoroughly so as to distinguish between the good and evil of what we do. All our actions are examined by his judgment. He takes notice of every step we take, both right steps and bysteps, and he is intimately aware of all our ways, knows the rules we walk by, the end we walk towards, and the company we walk with. God knows it when we lie down, withdrawn from all company, reflecting on how our day went, and preparing myself to rest. He knows what goes on in our hearts, and with what thoughts we go to bed. He is aware of all we say. There is no good or vain word we say that he is ignorant of. He knows the meaning of the words we say, from what thoughts the words came from, and with what intentions they were uttered. Even the words we were ready to say, which we checked and restrain ourselves from uttering, are known to him. Thoughts are words to God. What's more, God knows every part of us. Wherever we go or wherever we are constantly under his eye and hand. We cannot possibly escape both. He has a knowledge of each of us that we do not have, and neither can have of ourselves. And it is most amazing that we cannot comprehend, much less describe how God knows all these things. It is only certain that he knows them. God's omnipresence supports the infinite and immensity of his being, the ubiquity of his presence. As creator of heaven and earth, including the whole creation, he not only knows and governs both, but fills both. Every part of the creation is under his intuition and influence. He is a spirit, So it is foolishness to think that because we cannot see him, he cannot see us. Even in death, we are still not out of the sight of the living God, not even in the grave. No veil can hide us from his eye, not the thickest darkness, which often favors the escape of a pursued criminal or the retreat of a beaten army, will do us any kindness in fleeing from God. He sees as clearly in the dark as he does in the light. In conclusion, to comprehend the divine attributes of the omnipotence, omnipresence, and omniscience is to grasp the immeasurable nature of God. As the Almighty, his power knows no bounds, shaping the cosmos with a single word. His omnipresence extends beyond the confines of space and time, permeating every corner of existence. And his omniscience, the all-knowing mind, encompasses the past, present, and future, understanding even intricacies of human thought and action. To acknowledge these attributes is to recognize the profound mystery and majesty of the divine. It is to humble oneself before the creator of all things, the sustainer of life, and the judge of the universe. As we ponder the depths of God's nature, may we be filled with awe, reverence, and a renewed sense of wonder at the privilege of knowing him. So when you think of God, what comes to your mind? Please tell me in the comments section. Thank you for watching, and by God's grace, I'll see you in my next video.